Welcome along,
That is
weekend roundup. Oh my days. We're in for a great show today, guys. Well, what about the North London derby?
I'm not getting rattled.
And we're 3 points off top 4, so it's not looking too bad.
Yeah.
Foden 88, Saka 87. I think that's wrong.
Nice that you put your top on. You want to take it off and get the branding out? Happy birthday!
Make a wish to win the league.
I did.
But how much chance will Arsenal have of winning the Champions League?
0, mate.
If we got through PSV, do you think there's any chance?
No.
Hang on, let me finish.
Predictions.
2-1 Tottenham.
3-1 Liverpool.
2-0 Wolves. Chelsea to beat Man United at Old Trafford.
Still there.
You're in trouble if we win this game.
You better not lose on Saturday.
We beat the world champions this weekend. That makes you world champion.
We're the world champions, but you're not in a title race.
This is why you'll never win the league.
6 billion down the drain.
Robbie celebrating a 1-0 win. Abby Pilates instead of trophies. You never walk alone.
Catch us every Monday for the weekend roundup.
When Rodri walks, I swear he's like.
It's not pace, but
Why is he talking like he's in Jurassic Park?
I'm taking pounds, I'm taking yen, I'm taking cash dollar, I'm taking naira, I'm taking everything.
You ain't Trent.
Hey.
You ain't Trent.
I just realised FCM stands for your initials.
FCM on DR Sports. Make sure you guys go and check us out every Sunday. What are you waiting for?
This is FCM on DR Sports, and it's live.
Catch all the best shows from your favourite fan channels on GFN Soccer TV, now streaming on Samsung TV Plus.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to DR Sports, or if you're on Samsung TV, welcome to GFN Soccer TV. My name is Dylan. I'm joined here today by Laurie. It's the two of us. Nice to have a little two-man show to get back into, it's the international break, so it's time for us to sit down, relax, and think about what we've seen so far. Because obviously, we all support different Premier League clubs. We know, everyone supports different clubs. You might even support Premier League club. You just like, watching football content, but there's a lot to digest, I think, in the first 2 months of the Premier League. So what we're going to do is go through who we think so far, across the Premier League and football, who's been the biggest winners so far and who's been the biggest losers, who's suffering from what's going on in the football world at the moment in terms of, whose form's not playing well, who's playing well despite their bad team's form. But yeah, Laurie and I are here today to talk about, the general Premier League, everything that's going on. And I want you guys in the comments, get your likes in, comments in, super chats. Let us know who you think have been the biggest winners and losers so far this season. And if you think we're wrong, because, I'm sure there's someone out there who thinks I'm wrong. I'm sure there's someone out there who thinks you're wrong as well, Laurie. It's how the world works, especially here at DR Sports. Obviously, we've got so many loyal people who watch every day and have their own opinions and also make their own opinions known.
Sure do. No, it's great to be on, man. Hit me with it. I mean, I'm in a good place right now as far as football's concerned. At the top, looking down on everyone else.
Yeah, honestly, your boys Arsenal really are. And I think Arsenal are a team, funnily enough that you mentioned that I want to start on. Because I've got to admit, obviously people know I'm a United fan. But looking at the Premier League as just someone who watches a lot, almost probably too much football, I've got to say I think Arsenal have got to be one of, if not the biggest winners so far of the league this season. Because the way I see it is Arsenal, you're picking up points that you definitely weren't picking up last season. You've got Old Trafford away, like United away at Old Trafford. You don't often win at Old Trafford, beating Newcastle, St James's Park in the last minute. You're a team, you've also been, I'd say, the only team who haven't at points looked categorically bad. You've had poor performances maybe that weren't completely up to scratch. For example, like, Gabriel was not great against Newcastle, should have had a red card, was at fault for the goal, but you won the game. You got through there, you won the game.
And he did redeem himself.
He did redeem himself with a winning goal at the end. And I feel like Arsenal, this season, you're acting more like possible champions than previous seasons. Because previous seasons, it felt like Arsenal had a bit of a plucky underdog kind of vibe going on. It was like, but what can we do against Man City? Oh, well, what can we do against Mohamed Salah? Now, I feel like Arsenal, you're starting to act like possible champions, which is a massive, massive step in the right direction for Mikel Arteta.
Oh, 100%. I mean, before the start of the season, I had predicted that Arsenal would finish second because I looked at Liverpool and I thought they won the title last season. Let's face it, at a canter in the end. they've spent like, in excess of, 446 million, something like that, on players, quality players as well. So you're thinking, logically that if they won it last season without spending too much, this season they've, really thrown everything at it. You're thinking they're going to start favourites, and obviously they've got the experience of winning it last year. So I'm thinking Arsenal will probably finish second, but if you win another trophy to supplement that, I'll be fine. Although some Arsenal fans will say, no, it's got to be the title. But I've got to say I've been overall pleasantly surprised. There have been a few hiccups. I mean, the loss to Liverpool and dropping points against Man City at home, they were the two blips. But the way we are right now gives me cause for optimism, definitely.
What do you think's been the big change? What is there like something that's happened that's kind of caused a bit of a flick in Arsenal to become, like, as I said, to become more of a team that stood there going, no, we are the best and we are going to go for this, like, rather than like the previous seasons where it's always felt a little bit like, oh, we'll try. Like, has there been one like defining light switch moment, or has it just been kind of the case of the last 2 or 3 years, getting so close and building that resilience to then deciding almost that you're the best in the league at the moment?
I think what you said just there has something to do with it. But what I would do, I would point towards a squad. I would say now, and it's interesting because I've just said that Liverpool haven't spent all that money. But if you look at the two squads, Arsenal and Liverpool, you would say, well, I would certainly opine that Arsenal have the strongest squad in the Premier League at the moment. And I do think that squad has made a big difference, because if the first 11 is not able to get the job done, invariably Arsenal have been able to call on the players on the bench, bring them on and change the game. And we've seen that a few times already this season. And we just look solid. We already had a magnificent defence that's held up. We've lost a couple of players in the midfield, namely Thomas Partey and Jorginho, but we brought in Zubimendi and people like that, Norgard, although Norgard's not featured too much. Brought in Keres. Okay, some people might say he's not had the most auspicious of starts, but still he's got 3 goals. So we just look a stronger squad this season than we have in previous season. And I think that, with the experience we've had previously, players maturing together, the manager obviously becoming more experienced, I think that could be the difference this season.
I got to say, I think one of the things about Arsenal this season, as you mentioned, like, you've got a great squad. You've got like you've got a very well-rounded squad. You've got a squad that doesn't have too many holes in it. As opposed to when you look at Liverpool, you've got obviously they've got their 17 billion players in attack who are all amazing and all cost loads of money. But then you look at the defensive line, you're suddenly like, oh, like, Virgil van Dijk, what's going on with him? Only three fit senior centre backs. You've got the 2 fullbacks aren't who they used to be. They're missing, as Matisse mentioned, I think either earlier this week or last weekend. They're missing Trent Alexander-Arnold a bit in terms of the chances they're trying to generate. Trent was a big part of that progressing the play. So I think Arsenal, it's got a really well-rounded squad with very few holes in. But what I look at as a kind of potential turning moment, this might be a bit of a weird one. It's Madueke's good performances when he came in to replace Saka. Because when you've lost Saka before, when you've lost Odegaard before, it's, your performance level has dropped big time, and that could have had an effect on the players of like, oh, we've lost our main guys now. What are we supposed to do? But this time, it's Saka got injured after the first couple of games of the season, but it was okay because realistically, Madueke came in and smashed it. Odegaard's had 3 injuries already so far this season. He's now got the knee issue that he came off with recently, but it's okay because Eze's stepping in this time. Right. I feel like the squad are almost giving themselves confidence this time round by what's happened before is you lose your best players and you go, all right, well, that's that done then. Like, we're going to lose here, we're going to lose there, we're going to have trouble. But now they've given themselves enough confidence that even if they lose people, it's okay. You've got more.
That's right.
And I really think that I think losing Saka so early on was a big one. I remember like my mates who support Arsenal, Saka went off or went injured and it was like, oh, he can't play. And they were like, well, title's done already then. We had a good first 2 games, good first 3 games, and it was all done. But Madueke came in and it's like, where did this come from? Because you look at him from at the Chelsea time, and obviously you guys signed him 52 million. Even Edu said at the time, not Edu, Berta was like, this wasn't in our plan. Our plan wasn't to, sign Madueke at the beginning of the summer, but we did, and we have. And everyone's like, lol. Like at the time, they were just kind of like, see, even your guys don't want him, and it turns out he's fantastic. And turns out he's much needed. Obviously, I know he's injured now, but Saka's back. I do think that's had a really, really big effect on this squad in the opening weeks of the season. And obviously, that's such a win for Mikel Arteta. So if we're looking at winners and losers, yes, definitely Arsenal. But Arteta and the way that Arsenal's mentality is seen to just have it's not even a huge shift, because you're good for 33 out of 38 games of a season. Normally, that's what's happened in the last 3 years. But it's those other 5. And I think those other 5 include games like Newcastle away. That's part of those 5. Those 5-6 games where you don't quite look up to it, or the players don't think they can do it. Now I think they think they can. Obviously, now top of the league. I remember just before the weekend's gone, I said, could this be the biggest weekend in the turn of the title race? And it immediately was. Liverpool, they've lost 3 on the bounce now. They've got they've got United coming in at to Anfield, and you can either go, that can be a massive nail, or the perfect game to bounce back, because Liverpool aren't going to lose 4 away, surely.
Well, but they lose 3 on the bounce.
Yeah, you wouldn't think they're going to lose to Galatasaray, Crystal Palace, and Chelsea, but they have. It's been one goal score lines, like 1 goal difference, but it's it's still 3 points lost. It's still 2 points lost, or whatever, because Palace game was in the 90-something minute, 96th minute. The Galatasaray game, they conceded early and could never get back. And then again against Chelsea, it was like 96th, 97th minute. So
Which is ironic, because earlier on in the season,
that's how they were winning the games. Yeah. It's Liverpool is they're another team that I want to go. I want to get into, because I'm going to say they won their first 5 games, but suddenly them and Arne Slot are looking like, so far, some of the losers, like as you just mentioned before, you've got winning the league title by 9 points or something by the end of it's 9 or 11 points, which is a massive title win in the Premier League. That is, albeit because they were just better than like the rest of the pack was just really poor last season. But they spend all their money. Suddenly, it goes from Slot's man management is amazing to I'm seeing Liverpool. I know it's just people being dramatic, but I'm seeing Liverpool fans going, is this guy actually a good manager? And I'm not going to say that he is or isn't. That's not what I'm saying. But the fact that it's very quickly come to the point where that is coming into question, it's not good for Liverpool. It's not good for Slot.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on that, obviously I'm not a Liverpool fan, is that he is a good manager. You can't do what he done last season without being a good manager. I mean, he had a good reputation before. That was forged abroad in Holland, so I didn't know too much about him, but I was very impressed with what he did last season. And even the start of this season, when they were winning those games, especially coming from behind and showing that resilience, you're thinking, this is a guy that knows what he's doing. I was also impressed with the way he dealt with the Ekitike situation. If you remember when Ekitike got himself sent off foolishly, I like the way he dealt with that situation. And even Ekitike came out and said, look, the manager had a word to me, told me that I need to, correct himself. And it seemed all good. And then they went on this little run of losses, which was shortly after that incident, by the way. I never saw that coming. And I'm not going to say I've got serious doubts about him, because it could be just one of those blips that do happen. We've had them in the past at Arsenal. We had one last season. So,
I mean, Man City had them at one point when it was they lost 4 and drew. Like, they had a game where they didn't win for like 8 games.
Exactly. So inevitably, in a long season, especially in a league like the Premier League, which is so unpredictable at times. It's very physical, very intense. You are going to get blips. Liverpool fans will be hoping that their blip has come early in the season as opposed to later. They're thinking, if we can overcome this with a win against you guys, get back on track, it's all good. So I've got no doubt that Liverpool will bounce back. What we need to do from an Arsenal perspective is just keep picking up points. Don't worry too much about what Liverpool are doing now. We're in front now. We should be blinkered and thinking ahead, winning games and just quietly just being efficient and effective, hopefully go on and win the title.
Yeah, I mean, clubs looking behind them sometimes is a bad thing.
It is.
Like, when you're in a 100-meter sprint, when you're in a race, you don't. Like, I remember, because I used to sprint. That was like my sport when I was a kid.
Yeah.
One thing my coach would hammer into me: don't look at anyone else.
Exactly.
If you're on that race, you're on that final 100-meter sprint. I know we're not in the 100-meter sprint yet for the Premier League, but at this point, it's don't look left, don't look right, just look at the finish line. I feel like Arsenal have to, you just look at that finish line, look towards Christmas, then towards the end of February, then towards making sure you're all right during the Champions League knockout stages, 'cause obviously on the assumption that they go there. But this by no means is this me saying Liverpool are, they're not in this title race or anything. Realistically,
they're very much in.
They're what, 2 points behind you?
Yeah.
Oh no, win against United, and then suddenly I know you've got a really Arsenal, very blessed run of fixtures. Arsenal a very blessed run of fixtures. Liverpool have, as Jay Jackson here, big up for the super chat, thank you. He does say, not a Liverpool fan, but Liverpool have had tricky fixtures. I wouldn't fall into a trap so soon. Stamford Bridge is historically not an easy place to go. I do agree, but when you look at the next 5 games, statistically, Arsenal have the easiest next 5 games. Liverpool have the second hardest. So yes, Liverpool have had tough fixtures, but so have Arsenal.
Well,
you guys have had really tough fixtures, which is why there's only a 2-point gap. But I think it's one point. But I think what's the thing here about Liverpool is that yes, they're top of the league, and we said this when they were winning, it wasn't a sustainable method of football. Like, you can't win 38 Premier League games in the 85th minute onwards. Like, it does, your luck does run out, and Liverpool do really need to kick into gear, and they can. There is such an easy way. Obviously, I'm not a manager, but I feel Arne Slot, it's only a matter of time until he does kind of kick into gear. Same with Man City. They did, like, the whole of last season felt a bit weird for City, and then first couple of games of this season they had a bit of a Club World Cup hangover. But now it feels like they're starting to get into gear. Like, Erling Haaland now has, I think it's 12 goals for them so far this season already. That's insane. I think I believe only Harry Kane has more. And internationally, I think they're both on 18 each, because Haaland's got 5 or 6 for Norway so far this season. There's a lot about Liverpool which I feel is yet to come, but they've not been anywhere near the base performances. Like, because it's not like some of their players have had bad performances. Ekitike has been fantastic. Gravenberch has been fantastic. McCallum's been amazing. Like, these guys have been good. But then I feel like their top dog, Salah, has let them down. He has let them down this season, because, like, it feels like he's... like, the word ghosting... Like, it just comes to mind.
I would hesitate to use that word with a guy that's done so well in previous seasons.
Yeah, that's why I'm slightly hesitant to use it, because Salah can always just suddenly kick into gear. That's right. He does do it, and he'll drop out of form, and then suddenly he'll score 10 games in a row. Exactly. Or he'll be involved 10 games in a row. But Liverpool, they're on a bit of a... It's just a bit precarious, isn't it? Like, one more loss, especially against Amrim's United, could, like, spell bad news for them in terms of suddenly, it's just suddenly gets, like,
what I would say
unravels.
about Liverpool, if you look at, like, their 2 big signings, their 2 heavy hitters, they've not started to come good yet. Okay, Isak's only just rocked up there and didn't have a pre-season. So, I can kind of understand that one a little bit. But the Florian Wirtz one is obviously, if you're a Liverpool fan, going to give you more cause for concern, because he's not really hit the straps yet. But then, like you said, these are quality players. I'm a big believer in the old adage, class is permanent, form is temporary. So at some point, these guys are going to kick in. What we need to do as Arsenal is to make sure that in the meantime that they're not at it, struggling somewhat, is that we just keep piling up points. Like you said, tunnel vision, blinker, just keep thinking ahead.
Yeah.
But I do, to go back to an earlier point, I do believe there is something in that psychology of sometimes, not all the time, sometimes when you're being chased as opposed to doing the chasing, there is a little bit more pressure on you, because every week you rock up to these grounds, you got a target on your back. Teams are going to want to take you down, not just because you're Arsenal Football Club, but now you turn up as... table toppers. Everybody wants to say, we took points off them, or even we beat them, you know what I'm saying? So the pressure does start to become a little bit more ramped up. Can Arsenal deal with that pressure? Because we've seen a couple of times previously where we've not quite, for whatever reason, been able to get it across the line. There's also going to be pressure on the manager, even more scrutiny on every decision, every team selection, every in-game management decision now is going to be ramped up just that little bit more. Personally, I think he has what it takes to deal with it. I'm hoping that a couple of the mistakes he made earlier on, notably the Liverpool game and the Man City games, I think he was a little bit, if not negative,
safe.
Not, proactive enough. I'm hoping that when those situations do present themselves later on in the season, that he would have learnt from that. But only time will tell.
Yeah, so a couple of the comments they have corrected me. I didn't mean when I said McAllister's been good, I didn't mean McAllister. I meant Szoboszlai. I feel like he's been quite good so far this season, having to fill in midfield and centre back. That is my bad. I know McAllister's not been fantastic. Jay Jackson says, big up for the super chat again, says these results are posh when there's 6 pointers on the running. I don't agree with that because 3 points is 3 points no matter where it happens in the season. Liverpool beat Arsenal and they're still behind. This is what I mean, in that I feel like Liverpool, they've stumbled at points. The 3 points against Arsenal was, I think, down to Arteta, as you just mentioned. Arteta not being brave enough, or maybe not trusting his team enough, or trusting Eze enough to start, for example, instead of coming off the bench, than you probably should have. And when they come back to the Emirates, I think, depending on Liverpool's form, Arteta will look at that and go, we need to win that one. Because you can win that one. Obviously, you drew against City away from so at home, but then City, they're beatable. Their defence still looks dodgy. I feel like Arsenal, you're in the best place, which is out of those three clubs right now after these first 7 games to go on and win. Obviously, you're in the best place. You're top of the league. If you win every game, you've won the league. But obviously, you're not going to win every game.
Wish it was that simple, but yeah.
Yeah, it's never. Football is never that simple. But there's been some other, especially outside the top 6. I'd say there's been some real winners so far in the first 7 games. One of them, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Bournemouth stocks are through the roof. You've got
100%.
Iraola, Andoni Iraola, 43-year-old manager, so very much in the earlier years of his managerial career. Got 3 of his 4 defenders. Admittedly, he made a load of money off it, but 3 of the 4 of them left to PSG, Real Madrid, and I can't remember the third, Liverpool, but with Keres. So he's got 3 out of 4 as a new back line, and he smashed it. They're doing better than they ever have. Yeah. Bournemouth, they're amazing. And also you've got, Iraola's stock's going up because, managers will be needed soon, maybe at Manchester United, maybe at other clubs in the next couple of years, depending on if Slot stays, if Pep Guardiola stays or wants to leave in the Premier League and also abroad. There's always going to be managerial jobs coming up. So he's smashing it. And you've also got Semenyo. Semenyo, what a player this guy is. I've brought him into my FPL way too late. I'm so happy I did it. Yes, I did it for the last game week. But he's been, obviously I do look at things slightly through an FPL lens because I love FPL. Sure. But just watching him play is he's becoming such an I can't speak today, an inevitable player. Yeah. Think about how Mbumo was last season or how Wissa was last season. Things that all like Haaland in his first season when it was just it's like every week he's going to score. It really feels like that was Semenyo.
Yeah, he's been amazing. I mean, shout out to Cecil. Cecil, Cecil from AFTV. Now, he used to play pro football, or semi-pro football, and he has a couple of mates that are still active, still professionals. And I think he's got a friend who's at Bournemouth. And the guy, I don't know the guy's name. It's not important really. But anyway, he was saying to Cecil a couple of seasons ago, we got a guy at a club called Semenyo. He's amazing. Good on the ball, tremendously strong, good work ethic, great lad, you know what I mean? And he was calling him out a couple of seasons ago. And last season, he was really good. This season, he's gone up a couple of levels, and he's been absolutely amazing. And shout out to Iraola as well, because year on year, I remember when he took over at Bournemouth, he took over from Gary O'Neill.
And that it was very controversial at the time, and he didn't start well.
He didn't.
Initially, there were people were like, why have you done this? Why have you done this? But he's made that club his own.
I looked at that situation, I thought, we've got a British manager here, give him a chance. But to be fair to Bournemouth, they got that very right. Look what Iraola's done since he's come there. And I've joked with you off camera, that might be somebody that you might be looking at. You probably already are.
I really don't think it's a joke. I don't like Amorim. I'm not sure he's going soon. Just everything that's coming out the club makes it feel like they're going to give him more time, potentially more time than he should give him.
But if you're not,
Iraola's on that list, bro. Yeah. Iraola is right there.
Diligence. He's got to be somebody that has caught their attention and should be watching. But regardless of that, he's done fantastically well. And credit to Bournemouth. Who would have thought that they'd be so far up the table at this stage of the season? I'm not saying they're going to end up there, obviously, because, I would imagine that their squad is not as strong as some of the other teams in and around the top half of the table. But that's testament to how well he's done.
But a lot of the teams that I'd put on a similar level, fighting for similar places as them, and will go on so far this season, they're teams with Europe. You've got Crystal Palace, they've got Conference League, you've got Nottingham Forest as well. You've got some teams who have European football to contend with, whereas Bournemouth, they're just chilling there on one game a week plus the domestic cup competitions. And they're going to have these players for the rest of the season. Like Semenyo's not leaving in the January window. Kluivert's not leaving in the January window.
Well, he signed a new deal.
Yeah, I signed a new deal.
Which kind of caught me by surprise because he was much sought after last season.
Yeah.
And then he signed a new deal. Some people were a little bit surprised by that, including myself, because, dare I say it, Arsenal were looking at him. I do know that. But to be fair to him, he signed a new deal there. And wow, he certainly started the season.
So what it is with Semenyo at the moment is just in the terms of the transfer news is, so Bournemouth initially, when interest was starting to pick up, second half of last season, were saying 40-50 million. Then he kept staying good, and so that rose to about 55-60. Now, obviously after the new contract and everything, TalkSport, Ben Jacobs says that Bournemouth value him at 75 million plus.
Wow.
They see him as a better signing than the guy's 25.
I know.
He's in that Eze, Cunha and Bumo bubble. That kind of, obviously they all got their big moves last season, and then I think Semenyo is like the next one up from those mid-table Premier League clubs making the jump to the big six. I'm not going to say top six because United are 10th. We are slap bang in the middle of the table, so I'm not going to say top six, but like the big six clubs, or maybe even heading out to Europe. He's definitely like the next one lined up, and everyone's going to be watching him now the whole season, provided he stays fit. Touch wood, he stays fit. People are going to be watching him the whole season and going, someone's going to have to get him. Someone's going to buy him. And all the big clubs are going to be looking at it going, how much is this going to be? Because I know City want him. I know United are going to want him. I know that Liverpool are going to... maybe not Liverpool because they have their attack sorted. I think that, it's just about working out who goes where now. Or maybe if Wirtz isn't working out, they maybe could come in for him. But then, even Spurs might like him. Arsenal might like him. Like if Martinelli goes, for example, he's on the radar for everyone.
Listen, outside of the Premier League in European teams, I'm sure they're watching him also. And let's be honest, he announced himself right at the start of the season in a game against Liverpool, which
at Anfield.
It could be argued that they were unfortunate to lose because they conceded 2 goals very late in that game. Semenyo scored 2 in that game. One of them was a worldie as well. So every week this guy's delivering. His value, if anything, is going up, increasing. It just
keeps. I feel like his sale will go for what Bournemouth want, at least 75 mil. It'll be like total package will be around there, I think, because there's no way he's staying.
But if he carries on like this, it could be more than that.
Yeah, because I think European clubs might come into the mix.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. Like, the guy's gone from Bristol City to Bournemouth in 2023, then 3 years later, 2026 summer transfer window, he will be playing for one of the best clubs in the world. Yeah. Almost no doubt. And I think, Bournemouth are just winning.
He seems to have everything.
They're winning big time. But come the 2026 summer window, they might start, quote unquote, losing. If they don't have Iraola, if they lose Semenyo, even if they lose someone like Kluivert or Evan Nielsen, etc., they potentially have a tricky window ahead of them, and I think they would do well to maybe start planning now about how to negate that.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news for Bournemouth fans, but I would be surprised if Semenyo and Iraola are there next.
Yeah, so do I. So would I. It's one of those. It's the football machine.
How it goes, exactly.
You prove yourself, and then someone else will pick you up and nick you.
But for the time being, enjoy it, man. I mean, they've been brilliant. I mean, was it 7 games, 4 wins, 2 draws, just the 1 defeat to Liverpool. They beat Tottenham at Tottenham. That is a very, very good result as well.
I put them as a club in danger at the beginning of the season. Like, I'll hold my hands up and admit that I got that so wrong. I was like, these guys are going to be... Same with Brentford. I said, Brentford are going to be in danger, I think. I said Sunderland might be okay. But I did say Leeds United will be in danger, and I said Burnley would be in danger. But even Leeds are doing all right. There's so many surprise clubs. Chili Eden says Semenyo's goal needs slow-mo and music on it. Put the Titanic music on it. That would be great. And then continuing on the subject of winners, another one. I'm focused on another player now here. It's Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Jack Grealish ended Crystal Palace's unbeaten run on the weekend with a...
albeit fortunate.
The world's most fortunate goal, I think. Munoz cleared it into him. He didn't even strike, but obviously it counts as his goal.
I guess there's 2 ways of looking at it. Yes, he got fortunate, but then he was
right place, right time in the 93rd minute. It was a bad clearance by Munoz. Again, FPL-wise, Munoz cost me so much that game. He scored and then he lost like 9 points. But you've got Grealish on 1 goal, I believe, 4 assists, and he's suddenly back in the conversation for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like he moves to Everton and everyone's like, oh, it's unfortunate it didn't work out at City, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly, hold on. We've all just remembered who Jack Grealish is. Like at his best, we've remembered who Jack Grealish is, and he's really showing everyone now why he was so highly rated, why he was £100 million. You might still say maybe a bit of an overpay, but like Jack Grealish at his best is around there. But he's 30 now, obviously. I believe he's 30. This is like his last chance, his big last chance at Everton to maybe then move out of City. Maybe he'll stay at Everton. Maybe he'll go back to Aston Villa or something. But he's really kind of re-arrived in the Premier League and put himself right in the headlights of Tuchel for the World Cup.
First of all, it's great to see him back doing what he does best, because there was some concerns. Last season wasn't good for him. There was also reports that he may be struggling with his mental focus. He'd been for a hard time. And when he signed the loan deal at Everton, there were some people, not so much myself, but I heard a few pundits, observers, so-called experts saying that Everton might not be the best choice for him given the kind of football that they play there. But to be fair to Grealish, he's gone there and he's done really well. And like you said, now he's done so well that he's suddenly back in the England frame. I do think it's a little bit early to expect him to make the squad just yet. There's only 7 games. Like I said, last season was a bit of a disaster. So he has some way to go. However, he's on an upward curve, and that is good, not just for the Premier League. It's great to see him back in form, from a Premier League perspective. But as an England fan, you want to see guys like that, performing at the top level.
Yeah, it's as you say, it's way too soon to go. Jack Grealish, get him on that plane.
Yeah, I think it's too soon.
Considering England's left wing options, I think number one, who I'd say is also another winner of the season so far, but it's outside the Premier League, is Marcus Rashford. Like he is right now, it's kind of his left wing spot to lose in the way of he's playing well at Barcelona. He's really liked by Tuchel. He always plays well. I've never seen him not play well for England. Pretty much, Rashford's always scoring lovely goals. He's creating. He's got great chemistry with everyone in that team. But beyond that, it is a real toss-up for who's going to be taken for those left-wing spots.
You know what? I nearly said Semenyo, and then I remembered that he's Ghana. Well, he's born in London, but he's of Ghanaian heritage, so he plays for Ghana.
He's a Ghana international through and through.
Yeah. So, but listen, man. Rashford, Grealish. Yeah, let them fight it out. You know what I'm saying? But it will be good to see Grealish, if he maintains this level of form, get back in the England squad, because he's always done quite well for England, hasn't he?
Grealish?
Yeah,
he's always played well for England.
So.
Yeah, it's almost the opposite of Foden.
Well, yeah.
Foden's had he literally won Player of the Year in the Premier League 2 seasons ago, but then it's never quite clicked to England. It just felt like under Southgate, he never quite had what he needed to actually play well. Whereas at Man City, obviously Pep Guardiola loves him so much and gave him the right opportunities, and he had someone like Haaland to play with. Foden did. He had someone like Haaland to play with, who's just a brute force striker, whereas Harry Kane is different. Harry Kane, he drops deep, he occupies deeper spaces that Foden previously would hang around. So it's never felt like it's quite worked for Foden. It's Thomas Tuchel's England side are a different England side, and obviously they're playing Wales tomorrow evening. My boys Wales, and it's a different side. There's different chances and everything. You think maybe how's Cole Palmer going to fit into this England team when you because there's just so much talent in the attacking line. But yeah, Grealish definitely
just quickly on Grealish. I can remember it was around about this time maybe a bit further on, November last year. Remember Ireland played England. I remember I was out on holiday at the time in Lanzarote, I think it was. Anyway, I was watching from my hotel in the main lobby. It was quite full up with England fans, actually. And watching England versus Ireland. Remember that game? Grealish scored, didn't he?
He did.
And the Irish fans were giving him a lot of stick. And so listen, man, Grealish for England, he's done well. And I reckon it won't be too long before he's back in the fray. Because like I said, left-hand side, there won't be too many people fighting it out for that spot. Definitely Rashford will be one of them. But yeah, if we can get Grealish back in there, it enhances England, no doubt about it.
It's one of those one to watch situations, isn't it? You just got to keep an eye on it. I'm sure Tuchel sat there, he's looking at everyone else, and Grealish is right there at the corner of his eye, and he's going, if you keep playing, because there's not many international breaks left. There's this one, November, March, and then the ones before the World Cup. So it's not, that's what, 9 games for these players to impress.
If he keeps up this level of form, it's hard to see a world where he doesn't feature
Yeah,
in the World Cup. And it'll be a great comeback for him.
It's great. It's a great story for him as well.
It would be.
It's a very good story for him.
I'm
after
hoping that
obviously everything that's happened surrounding him. Some of it's his fault, some of it's not. But it's just it's the way football works.
We would all agree. He's got the talent. We've seen it even in his Villa days. He's got the talent. He started off well at City. Things deteriorated a little bit. But listen, as I said earlier, that old adage about form is temporary, class is permanent. He's showing it this season. Let's hope he can maintain a level of consistency. And and then the world is oyster.
Continuing on England, you've got these young midfielders at the moment. I'd say particularly Adam Wharton and Elliot Anderson. I'd say Anderson very much in particular. Considering the mess that obviously Forest are in at the moment, Anderson's these young midfielders are like, you look at they look like seasoned pros. Yeah, Anderson, this is his second full season, I'd say, is like an established Premier League player, because obviously he was great last season with Forest and he's playing well again this season. Adam Wharton in a position that Man United are showing are impossible. Turns out it's not if you're Adam Wharton. He's been amazing, because Adam Wharton's rise as well. From the Championship with Blackburn, I believe, Palace signed him in January, and then he just went woof, and he became one of the best young midfielders in the world. Real Madrid won him, Man United won him, Man City like him, Liverpool like him. He was in the Championship a couple of years ago. Yeah. I think his as another set of winners, like a bracket type of player winners in the Premier League this season so far, it's young midfielders.
Definitely, and I think one of the trends that we've seen, one of the positive trends we've seen in the Premier League is the fact that younger players are getting opportunities. We've even seen at our club with Wanyeri, who's one of the, if not the youngest Premier League starter. We've seen Max Dowman, what he's done. Like I said, Liverpool, with the guy Rio Nguma, is it?
Yeah.
He come on, scored a worldie against Newcastle. As you said, Wharton, Elliot Anderson, people like that, they're getting their opportunities. And there is that old adage, another adage, if you're old enough, you're good enough, or whatever that.
If you're good enough, you're old enough.
If you're good enough, you're old enough. That's the one. Yeah, so these guys are being given the opportunity, which is great, and they're grasping it, which is even more important.
It's becoming such a almost, I don't want to, like a designer position at the moment, isn't it? It really is. You think about every good team, every great team who's trying to push for trophies, they have a £100 million or midfielder or someone who's worth £100 million. You've got you've got Arsenal with Declan Rice. You got Moise Caicedo at Liverpool, Chelsea. I'm really muddling my words up today. Gravenberch, who obviously he didn't cost 100 million, but you'd say he's in that bracket of like high-level midfielders now because he's done so well there. And then Man City, you've got Rodri, who again not 100 million pound, but like Ballon d'Or winner. You'd say at his peak will probably be around that price. It's become a position now that's so highly sought after, and so you're therefore now seeing these young players will be watching these players above them and going, I want to play as a DM. I want to play as a deep lying playmaker. I want to do what Declan Rice is doing. I want to do what, like, Rodri won a Ballon d'Or from this position. Like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you look at defensive midfielders, they're just midfielders who weren't good enough in attack, or like fullbacks or just used to be wingers who couldn't score enough goals. Yeah, and now suddenly these positions like fullbacks and like defensive midfielders, these positions that were just kind of like hard work grafter ones, they suddenly become, as I said, like designer positions. They're becoming positions that you want to play in because they're getting so much credit these days, which I think is a big reason why you've got these players like Wharton, you've got these players like Anderson who are just smashing it and are now being valued at 75 million, 100 million pounds, 80 million pounds.
Yeah, I remember going back to when Claude Makelele was at Chelsea. I remember he in that role, he kind of brought to a lot of people's attention that role. People used to refer to it as like the water carrier, but over the years it's got more and more enhanced. And then we saw N'Golo Kante.
He's another big one, I think, in this.
You know what I mean? It's a role that's kicked on in terms of importance. And of course, they do say in football that if you can control the midfield, invariably you're going to go on and win the game. If not lose the game. So that is a crucial area of the pitch. And now we're seeing these guys not just be, athletes who can run around and make tackles. They're actually imposing themselves on the style of play as well. We're seeing it as well at the moment with Zubimendi. He's provided some crucial moments for Arsenal this season. So in that deep lying role. So it's very important.
Is
engine room of the team.
Is therefore, as a consequence, Kobbie Mainoo a loser in this scenario? Like, he's losing out because you're seeing all these young midfielders, especially English midfielders, smashing in the Premier League, and he can't get a start. He's had 6 appearances for United so far, 5 in the Premier League. His only start was the 2-2 and then lost penalties against Grimsby in the Carabao Cup. He's going from someone who's, and I've said this on United View. On Monday I had a big rant about this on United View about Mainoo and just everything that's going on with him at United. But when you look at things unilaterally, and if I take the emotion out of it, you've got there's Tuchel right now. There's not a reason to pick Mainoo over Anderson and Wharton, and you're not going to then pick 3 midfielders under the age of 21, 22 in your squad, because you've also got other midfielders like Bellingham and Declan Rice, etc., who are bona fide starters and midfield Premier League players, and then you've got more attacking players like Foden and Palmer, etc. It's just suddenly his lack of game time at United and coupled with the fantastic form of these young midfielders in the Premier League, it's squeezing him out of the England squad. And Amorim's is I put Mainoo down, unfortunately, as kind of a loser of the situation because he's not getting games.
Yeah,
so he's not getting any
have
recognition.
To say has fallen, and it's unfortunate for him because it's through no fault of his own. Because if you remember last season, he was seen as one of the new stars on the scene. But when you're not playing, when you're not getting game time, and you're also playing for a side that is not doing very well, it's not a great look. So, and we've seen Mainoo give the indication that he would like a move away from United. You can understand why that might be.
I completely agree with Mainoo, by the way, in this.
It's World Cup year.
Yeah.
And his aspirations will be that he wants to be on that plane to America come the end of the season. So you can see why he might be happy. I've just got to trust that the manager will see sense sooner rather than later, because he is one of your better players. There's no doubt about that. But he's fallen victim to the system, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's becoming more and more, it feels like to me, and I'm surprised about this, is it feels more and more as if Amorim just doesn't see Mainoo as his guy. So Casemiro was out the squad for ages when Amorim first came in. But Casemiro worked on his fitness and played some good games in the Europa League, and he's now in. I'd say if Amorim was to pick a midfield too, it's Casemiro's in it. Casemiro went from not playing to then playing because he's a defensive midfielder who's got a decent pass on him and at least tries to tackle. And Amorim looks and goes, that's my guy. I think he looks at Mainoo.
Tries to tackle there.
Oh, because it doesn't always work. He can have a good game on his day, but it's not often enough. But then with Mainoo, I think Amorim looks at him and just goes, "That's not my guy." And he goes, "Mbumo's my guy." Then? I personally, I have no idea. I don't see and believe that Mainoo can't play the role that role next to Bruno Fernandes, especially against teams like Sunderland. Like when Sunderland went 2-0 down and they went to a 5 at the back or a 3 at the back, I was looking at thinking, all right, give Mainoo give him the second half here, give him half an hour, because you may as well. But again, he just looks, and this is what Flex has been saying to me, in games, when you're watching at Old Trafford, Mainoo doesn't look sharp, but he doesn't look sharp because he's not getting the chance to be sharp.
It's a catch-22 situation.
And unfortunately, it looks like Mainoo, he's just not his guy, because he doesn't trust him as much as he might trust Bruno Fernandes, or as much as he might trust Brian Mbumo or Matthias de Ligt. Or Casemiro, yeah. These are Amorim's guys, and Mainoo isn't. Which to me is crazy, because I think Mainoo is one of the... you take away positions and everything, just look at who's good at football. Mainoo's top 5 in our squad. Genuinely, I believe that Mainoo is top 5 in our squad.
As an outsider looking in, I'm surprised he's not...
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy.
But listen, you watch these guys more than me, so a question for you. What would you say are Mainoo's chief attributes and maybe his not so much flaws, but areas where he's not quite as strong, which might dictate why the manager doesn't play him? Mainoo's
not the quickest player in the world,
but then neither is
personally,
Casemiro.
I think that's fine. Yeah, Casemiro's not quick either. He's better at attacking as he is at defending, but he's still quite a good defender. I remember the first game of last season when we played Fulham, beat them 1-0. Mainoo won 13 duels playing as a defensive midfielder. He's strong, and I do think his positioning's better than people give him credit for. But his best attribute is carrying the ball into the final third. If you were to think, if I want Mainoo to do one thing, it's get the ball, turn, and carry the ball into the final third. And it's what Ruben Amorim doesn't seem to like. Both of his midfielders, that midfield too, they progress through passing. Bruno Fernandes gets the ball, looks up. I think it was so evident against City, and it was a big reason why we lost against City. Bruno Fernandes gets the ball, turns. He wants to pass it to that front three. He wants to try and play it over the top and try and play it through to them. Casemiro is the same. He gets the ball. Casemiro doesn't dribble with the ball. He doesn't try and beat his man. He tries to get the ball as quick as he can to the front. Whereas Mainoo is he gets the ball, he can beat two guys and run with the ball. And I think running and gliding with the ball, Mainoo's actually quite good at it. And it seems like Amorim doesn't want a midfielder who does that. And to me, I think that's wrong. You've got to have one midfielder who can pass the ball forwards.
So what's Mainoo's passing range like?
His passing range is decent.
To adapt to that.
His passing range is good. He hasn't got a Paul Pogba pass on him or a Declan Rice pass on him. He's got a good pass on him, but what he's good at is especially it's in tight areas. So if you're playing 3 against 2 midfield, well, there's only 2 of you in midfield, Mainoo can dribble around him. And what I think with Mainoo, and I go back to when we lost against City at the Etihad, it was Bruno Fernandes would get the ball as quick as he could up to the field, meaning that one of the front 3 had to stay behind to collect it, to then turn and go forwards. So suddenly it's 3v4. If Mainoo is running with the ball towards the opposition penalty area, our forward front 3 are still looking to get beyond the defence. So Mainoo has 3 options rather than Ahmad or Mbumo collecting and having 2. And personally, I think it would help Amorim so much if he did play Mainoo. But
and you mentioned
it's just not going to happen.
About speed, and I would say, and listen, I'm sure you would agree with me that if you're a number 6, you don't have to be blessed with an inordinate amount of speed.
You do an Amorim system at times because you need to cover a third more ground, which is why even Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, looks so out of place.
Casemiro's not quick.
Yeah, I know. This is why I find it crazy. It's Casemiro's not that quick.
And I would also venture to say, given that he's at least 10 years younger than him, that it's far likely, you'll know this more than me, that Kobbie Mainoo's going to have more legs and more stamina than Casemiro. Because Casemiro definitely has looked a little bit aged in recent years. So the legs are not going to be as good as they were in previous seasons. So again, I can't understand the logic behind that, I've got to say.
It's, to me, it feels like Casemiro's better when the ball, like not without the ball at his feet. Let's say in the way of like he's better when the opposition has the ball and it's his job to get it back. Mainoo's better when he has the ball at his feet. Right. So Amorim might be looking at it going, I don't want to play Mainoo in this midfield until we become a more dominant team. But then also, you're not going to become a more dominant team because you're not playing players who are better on the ball. Like if Bruno Fernandes, if his instruction is ping it up to the wing backs, ping it up to the forwards, ping it up to the striker, you're going to lose the ball a load because you can't get that right 100% of the time. So you then also need to have someone who can provide balance and can keep the ball at his feet and then pass it on a little bit and then play 1-2s and run through the midfield rather than. But it's not going to change.
Yeah, it's
Mainoo, like genuinely, I don't necessarily know if Mainoo's getting a start before December. Our first midweek game is on December 2nd. So the rest of October, the whole of November, we have weekend games. Mainoo will get games in December. He might get a couple starts here and there. He'll ask to leave again in January to go on loan. That's all he wants to do. Go on loan, play some football. And he wants to come back in the summer. That's it. And then United denied it.
Well, you can see why that might be.
Yeah, but I've
both from a professional perspective and, like I said, he's got World Cup aspirations. So.
Yeah, but I also think the other point is like, do we not have a responsibility to like make decisions that's based on his development? He's a 20-year-old midfielder from our academy. Do United not have the responsibility to make decisions with his development in mind? Sitting on the bench, sitting on the bench isn't that.
Yeah, I agree. However, looking at it from the manager's perspective, he's been brought in to get results and you've not been getting results. So he will see, this is him, Amorim, that he feels he's more likely to achieve that with
and that's his decision. If he wants to sit on that, his decisions so far have not turned out well, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But on to more winners and losers. I was going to ask if you've got any.
Right. Yeah, I did make a note of a few. I did mention Areola. Let's talk about Olivier Glasner, manager of Crystal Palace. Now, this is a guy, a bit like Areola as well, significantly enhanced his reputation. I mean, they've just been on a long non-losing streak. Okay, they lost to, was it Everton?
Yeah.
Recently, but very good start. A lot of people said that Crystal Palace might struggle this season. They lost Eze. But listen, He's done really, really well. And he's another manager that's attracting interest, it would appear, from some of the so-called bigger clubs. And yeah, I think he's done really well there. And he, in defiance of these three at the back that seems to cause United so many problems, he's been a manager that appears to make it work.
Yeah, so you say Crystal Palace, they're sitting in 6th. They've got 12 points. Obviously, that's 4 points off Arsenal in first, 3 points off Liverpool in second, 3rd and 4th, Bournemouth on 14, City. They're currently right in the mix. Obviously, you don't expect them to stay there, especially once the Europa League hits, because Crystal Palace made £16.3 million in profit last summer, like on their overall transfer dealings. There's a team that's got an extra 15 to 18 games this season with European football coming their way. That's not really what you want to hear. You want to hear that you've added another 3-4 players to your squad in order to cope with all of that. So there is the whole question of, will Glasner be able to continue this run of form once it's hitting the latter stages? Like we're in December and you've got Europa League, you've got potential Carabao Cup, because I think they're playing Liverpool in the next round, aren't they? In the Carabao Cup. You got potentially Carabao Cup action, and you got maybe 2 games a week of Premier League as well. That's a lot of football. So I think a big test is coming up for Glasner if he wants to, I'd say, continue the audition potentially of moving on, because he's not got a new contract yet because he's refusing to sign one. Because what he said to Crystal Palace in the summer, he went, "You're giving me a new deal. I can see it on the table there, but I'm not going to sign that until I see what you do in the window."
That's right.
And they didn't really do anything in the window. He's made them better than they were, even without Eze. Like, Sarr looks amazing. Mateta's just being Mateta. He's great. You've got Yeremy Pino at points there. One of their new signings has looked good. Mark Gay is still great. Richard is still, most part, doing well. Munoz, for the most part, playing really, really good football. And he's showing himself to be a manager who can raise the floor of a club very, very well, like Emery has before. Like when Emery's been at Villa and he's like, or like when he's at Villarreal and he's not necessarily competing for the Champions League, but it's like, I'll raise the floor to make these guys the best team in the Europa League, and we can use that to just go on and win it 3 times in a row.
He's kicking on. I mean, if you remember, maybe around about this time last season, there was some, people there that was doubting him and saying he might not be there for too much longer. Remember that?
I do remember that.
And he's kicked on, brought them through. They won a trophy, the first trophy in many, many years. And this season, he solidified and kicked on again. So that's to his credit. Another guy that needs to be given credit is Thomas Frank. Done really well at Tottenham. I mean, they're 3rd in the table at the moment, and they've looked good. They look better. I would say, with respect, that Thomas Frank has been an upgrade on Ange.
Postecoglou.
And Tottenham are looking a lot more solid. I noticed it in pre-season when we played them. So what he's done there, it's not really surprised me that much, but he deserves a lot of credit because he looks like he's stabilised that ship, and they look like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this season, definitely.
But on the point you made about Thomas Frank, what I'd want to ask you is, but has he done anything that you haven't expected, Thomas Frank, in the way that we know at Brentford, it's slightly more pragmatic football, it's safer, and it's finding Thomas Frank, the defensive solidity tended to be quite good at Brentford, and then it was about making sure the attackers clicked and knew where they were going to play. That's pretty much what's happening at Spurs so far. So I wouldn't necessarily put Thomas Frank as a manager who's absolutely smashing it, like above expectation. He is doing very well at Spurs in terms of he stabilised them after, like Abby said so many times, she can't believe she's looking at clean sheets. She can't believe she's looking at, Spurs, they've barely lost a game. Obviously, they lost to Bournemouth, but for the most part, they've been okay, and they've even fought back in games where they have gone a goal down or two. But I wouldn't put Thomas Frank as a person who's, just like smashing it through the roof, because I think this is what we would have expected from him. Yeah,
you are right about that. But what I would say is that we knew he was a good manager, but sometimes even the better managers, it can take time for their ideas to filter through. Because this is, I wouldn't say the same team, but the same club that struggled so much last season. Okay, they won that Europa League, but they also finished, 17th, 18th, something like that? Not 18th, but pretty low down the table. He's come in and he's done a good job. And like I said, I noticed it in pre-season when they beat us. In that pre-season friendly, they got a fairly early goal in the first half, and then they held out. Previous Spurs teams probably wouldn't have done that against a team like Arsenal. So, Yeah, that kind of put me on the radar with him. And then, I think this season he's stabilised the club and they just look a better, more effective, competent team than I've seen at Tottenham for a few years now. So I think he does have to be given credit for that, to be honest.
I find it, I think about Spurs sometimes. I forgot they finished 5th.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to think they finished 5th and then 17th with 22 league losses the season after. Ange Postecoglou, he's definitely a loser so far of this season. He's not won in 7 games so far. Like it's like I know we're not even touched on that. But Jay Jackson's coming with a super chat about Arsenal. He said Arsenal fans are doing a brilliant job at pushing Vert's agenda to hide/cover Gyökeres. So I do, and based on this, thank you Jay Jackson for giving me another topic to talk about. Is Gyökeres edging on loser territory so far, considering the expectation coming in and then the lack of goals so far, or has the coverage of him been unfair?
I can understand the criticism. I do, because it's Premier League. It's the most scrutinised league in the world. And listen, when you come into a club like Arsenal, the scrutiny is very high, and much was expected of him, including people like myself, who was a keen advocate of Gyökeres. That being said, though, he has got 3 goals. He is getting used to a new club that play a different way to what he's been used to. We're also getting used to playing with a different kind of number 9. So it is going to take time. But I would say there is cause for some concern. He's gone 6 games now without a goal. And strikers...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Exactly. What last goal he's got? Was it the Leeds goals?
No, Forest.
Forest.
Yeah, he got a couple of goals against Forest, wasn't he? Yeah, he got the there was a goal from Eze in the penalty. But yeah, Forest was his last goals.
Damn,
like I said, 6 games without a goal. Whenever a striker goes 6 games without a goal, there is going to be eyes, especially a guy that came to the club with such a big reputation. What was it? Something like 102 goals in... No, 97 goals in 102 games or something like that. Some ridiculous record he came into the club with. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting those numbers at Arsenal, obviously. But, I'm still backing him for 20th season. I've seen signs that he will be good. I would say, though, the West Ham game was the first time he looked like he was struggling a little bit, if you know what I mean. There were a couple of times when he was dispossessed, he looked a bit clunky. Maybe there's a little bit of tiredness in there. But prior to that, the previous games before that, the Bilbao and the Olympiacos game and the Newcastle game, he actually played well without scoring. In the West Ham game, he looked a little bit off it. Maybe the international break coming as it is will give him time to...
Might be a good time for
him. Yeah, so...
I think,
But I'm still backing him. In short, I'm still backing him.
If Gyökeres hasn't scored in 6, I know I've had... I mean, you in particular as well, you've mentioned Benjamin Sesko. But I've watched the two play, and I think I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think Sesko will have more goals for Arsenal right now than Gyökeres does, if you'd signed him over Gyökeres. I look at Arsenal play, and I watch Sesko play so far for us, and I think he'd be so good for you. Because he can... So what Gyökeres is currently doing so far, like obviously he's playing as like very much, like I'd say the more of the target man, running in behind. Sesko's bigger than him, in terms of height, he's taller than him, I think quicker than him, and he's got a good strike on him. Sesko does have a good finish on him, and he's taken some time to adapt.
Is he a natural finisher, though?
Sesko?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got to learn that. That's the difference, is that he's... Gyökeres is 26, 27 years old. He's got 8, 9 years of goal scoring experience to his name in the Championship, and then also in Portugal. Whereas Sesko is he was in the Bundesliga and the Austrian league, and he's 22. I know what you're about to bring up about. Sesko's he's not scored like 20 league goals in a season before.
I think his highest return is 13.
13 from last season, when 6'5" Sesko, they had the 18th most amount of crosses to him. Last season Leipzig did. He was being used wrongly at Leipzig. I look at Sesko, he's very much, for me, a United fan, I look at him and go, I like him.
Shall I tell you why everything you said there is pretty much spot on, right? He's definitely taller, he's definitely quicker, and definitely Sesko is a good player. But here's the crucial difference. You talked about his age and his potential. I think at Arsenal at the moment, we don't have time for potential anymore. We need guys that are going to come in, hit the ground running and score goals, which is what Gyökeres has done throughout his whole career. He's been a goal scorer. We need that. Okay, you can argue at the moment whether it's working out to the best. It's still early days yet. But I think one of the main reasons why Arsenal would have preferred Keres over Sesko is that we don't have time for building anymore. We need to be winning things now. And I think if you bring in a guy like Keres with a proven goal-scoring record, that is more what we needed, rather than have to wait for a player who's only 22 to mature for another 2 or 3 years. Only time will tell.
I hear the theory, but you're also having to bed Keres in now, it seems. He's not scored in 6. He's still getting used to the league. So is Sesko. Like, it feels like they're almost on an even path at the minute. Maybe Keres will settle quicker than Sesko would. Maybe Sesko takes 7-8 months to properly kick on in Premier League. Maybe Keres at Christmas, light bulb clicks and he's good and he starts playing. But, it's one of those things that only really time will tell. But in the comments, just thought, let us know who you think have been the winners of the league so far, the losers, be that in Europe or in England, or talking about, going to the World Cup and everything, all these different players. Are we wrong? Are we right on some of the ones we have mentioned, like Mainoo and Keres, Elliot Anderson and co? And the managers, Bournemouth, everything. Just let us know what you think of us in the comments, and let us know any other winners and losers in the from the league so far. But apart from that, it's been a pleasure. My name is Dylan. I've hosted today. It's been great having Laurie back on as well.
Yeah,
on
thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
The best show on DR Sports, of course.
Absolutely.
But obviously, there's plenty coming up in the next couple of weeks. I will be here at 5 p.m. tomorrow to go through to preview the England game. Actually, because obviously it's England-Wales tomorrow. I'll be wearing my Wales shirt. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. No.
Welcome along, weekend roundup. Oh my days. We're in for a great show today, guys. Well, what about the North London derby?
I'm not getting rattled.
We're 3 points off top 4, so it's not looking too bad.
Yeah. Foden 88, Saka 87. I think that's wrong.
Nice that you put your top on. You want to take it off and get the branding out? Happy birthday!
Make a wish to win the league.
I did.
But how much chance will Arsenal have of winning the Champions League?
0, mate.
If we got through PSV, do you think there's any chance?
No.
Hang on, let me finish.
Predictions:
2-1 Tottenham.
3-1 Liverpool.
2-0 Wolves. Chelsea to beat Man United at Old Trafford.
Still there.
You're in trouble if we win this game.
You better not lose on Saturday.
We beat the world champions this weekend. That makes you world champion.
We're the world champions, but you're not in a title.
This is why you'll never win the league.
6 billion down the drain.
Robbie celebrating a 1-0 win. Abby Pilates instead of trophies. You never walk alone.
Catch us every Monday for the weekend roundup.
Roger walks, I swear he's like.
It's not pace, but why is he talking like he's in Jurassic Park? I'm taking pounds, I'm taking yen, I'm taking cash dollar, I'm taking naira, I'm taking everything.
You ain't Trent. Hey. You ain't Trent.
I just realised FCM stands for your initials.
FCM on DR Sports. Make sure you guys go and check us out every Sunday. What are you waiting for?
This is FCM on DR Sports, and it's live.
Catch all the best shows from your favourite fan channels on GFN Soccer TV, now streaming on Samsung TV Plus.